just waiting for, yeah, we need a minute for everybody to come on board. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
That is your picture there.
Oh. Oh, yeah? How embarrassing is it going to be?
No, this is on me.
Oh!
I already got you earlier today. So.
How long ago was that media game match?
14?
Oh my
13?
goodness. Was it that long
13,
ago?
14?
So it was 4 years ago. It seems like yesterday.
You're still out of breath?
Yeah, pretty much. I'd like to say I'm in better shape now than I was then, but you know I can't.
The better shape.
That's not something I could. That's not something I could just guarantee.
I'm finding the better shape you're in is counterbalanced by Kamler.
Yeah, don't fall on the chair there.
Yeah.
You know. So have you guys ever done a Facebook Live from the studios of a major television station, sitting on the anchor desk?
This is the first one right here.
You're looking at, what do you think? You're looking in the teleprompter here. What do you think?
Well, we can read those.
Huh?
You guys ready?
Ready.
Something about seeing
Okay.
Hey everybody, here we are. Welcome, another episode of Landmark Live, and it's a special one tonight. Look at us here on the Channel 9 news desk.
Fancy.
You might want to back up a little bit just to show, this isn't
legit.
This
is legit.
Smoking mirrors
This
here.
isn't in our basement
actually,
like they normally are.
We're a half hour from KMBC 9 News at 6 on this desk in front of those cameras in this room, and look, see who is. Look at these guys. Look at these guys over here who are on the desk right now with me.
It is so. Kris Kamler here from the Landmark.
We've only broken 4 of Brian Busby's monitors.
Well,
and that's fine. It's okay.
Well, Kris, we appreciate you inviting us down here for. It's nice to be hanging out with the king of Kansas City.
You got us on a really busy night.
Yeah, it's a slow night for you, isn't it?
Tell
especially for Northland News.
Yeah, exactly. Especially for Northland News. Okay. If you missed us off the top of KMBC 9 News at 6, my first question is, where were you? Okay. Secondly, plans for a new KCI are in flux.
Sketchy.
Let's put it that way. They're a little sketchy right now, and here's what happened. The Kansas City, Missouri City Council, and we got wind of this yesterday. In the spirit of full disclosure, we heard some rumblings.
From your sources, right? I got you.
We heard rumblings, our reporters heard rumblings yesterday, that there were concerns, serious ones, about the memo of understanding that the city council and the city had signed with the airport developer, Edgewood.
This is basically the promise that got voted on, right?
This is, the memo of understanding is a document that kind of lays out in a very, in kind of a broad sense of what the final agreement may in fact look like, subject to negotiation. Okay, and it's one of those things where, especially with a project of this size, you need an MOU off the top before you can really move on to other substantial aspects of the project. So, city has this memo of understanding with Edgemoor. Okay, but there are still concerns that some members of the city council have with elements of this memo of understanding. But it's all kind of part of the negotiation process, okay? Well, these concerns are, at least with 2 city council members that I know of, these are serious issues, and so serious to the point that late this afternoon, early this evening, the Kansas City, Missouri City Council voted 9-4 to basically reject that memo of understanding.
They blew it up.
In effect they did.
Yeah.
But they voted first 9-4 to essentially say this memo of understanding, we're out. Okay, we just reject. We're done. We ain't doing it. And then the council came back later and passed a resolution. Again, I believe the vote was 9-4, but Michael Mahoney, who was our guy at City Hall, who was there when it all happened, is on his way back, and we'll drag Michael into this conversation a little bit later.
Mahoney's a hardcore newsman. We need him.
You want nobody else but Mahoney on a story
That's
like
right.
this,
Can
trust
you wear
me.
his newsboy cap?
No. So the second vote was a resolution by the city council that said, in so many words, Edgemore, you're out. We're done. And now the question is, okay, who's next? And I asked Michael off the top, once his report off the top at 6 o'clock, and I wondered, because we're kind of all hearing this for the first time, and the first thing I thought of was, is this some sort of backdoor attempt to try to bring Kansas City's Burns and McDonald back into the picture? Right. Of course, it was Burns and Mac who started this whole thing way back when, and who, they were subject to this bidding process, and they didn't win. Edgemore did. This Edgemore Infrastructure, this Maryland-based company that they build airports all over the world. But Burns and Mac, like I say, started this whole thing and then lost. And so, was this an attempt to try to get Burns and Mac back in the picture? And Michael's answer was not necessarily, because when Edgemore was chosen as the developer for a new KCI, in second place, the way some council members rated the companies, is a company by the name of AECom, based out of Los Angeles. Another very well respected. They build airports all over the world. This is what they do. This isn't some fly-by-night that I'm sure nobody's ever heard of, but within this industry, they're very well known. So the door might be opening for AECom to come in with a plan of their own. Now, there's also been some discussion about maybe AECom and maybe Burns and Mac working together on some aspects of a plan. Maybe. That's probably maybe with a capital M, but that's out there. So this resolution that was passed 9-4 by the City Council to basically walk away from Edgemore, the next step at City Hall would be for this resolution to then be submitted to make it part of the committee process at City Hall. And what we don't know at this point is what that next step legislatively at City Hall is going to be. So and I hope that makes sense. But this is complicated stuff. But in a nutshell, the city is walking away from Edgemore. We're not 100% sure who's in line next. We think it might be AECom. We're not 100% sure on that. Had the City Council gone ahead and said, this memo of understanding, we're good, we're moving forward, they were looking at breaking ground next month.
So
and construction was supposed to be finished in late 2021.
So I let me actually ask you, all the money that's supposed to come from all this construction, the county would love to have that money tomorrow. They can't be terribly.
No, this is not good news for anyone. This is not good news for anyone involved in this process.
All right, for a couple of Northlanders, what's your first take on this?
I'm scared. I want things to be moving forward economically. Yeah, a new airport is going to be a boost, obviously, to the Northland, from our point of view. So
I'm not a political guy, but I know that even the streetcar had starts and stops and starts and stops, and hopefully this is a hiccup. It didn't sound like that on Twitter today. It sounded like it was a pretty bad deal, so that's never good.
Yeah.
But everybody, stay tuned to Channel 9 for updates. You guys, you'll be back on the air at 9 tonight?
9 o'clock on KCWE, Channel 29, and then, of course, at 10
on the flagship.
It's my wife. Should I take this call or not?
Yes, let's do it. Dana Wright.
Why are you on the
Honey?
Dana Wright, you guys. In case you don't know.
Here, I'm going to put you on speaker, okay? Hang on. All right. So everybody, honey, we're in the middle of a Facebook Live with the good folks from the Platte County Landmark. So don't say anything really embarrassing about me, okay?
Hello, my friends from Platte County.
Well,
is that North?
Yeah, that's North.
Dana. Dana. We
Can
played soccer. We played soccer together, Dana, at the Commons. You don't remember us?
That's awesome. Yes, I remember.
No, she doesn't.
She's got no clue.
You and Kris played great defense that night. Our team, I think.
Let me tell you, that was a memory that I'd rather.
Oh, you guys were great. Kris was a beast back there on defense.
Throwing elbows.
I don't want to interrupt. I was just calling to say hi.
Oh no, we were going to talk about you anyway, so it's probably a good thing you called in.
Yeah, you were.
Yeah, we were. That was going to be my next question. I already asked Chris. I said, can we talk about your wife?
Is there anybody in media today that has a better laugh than Dana Wright? I can't think of.
I don't think so.
Kris Ketz, is Dana Wright as crazy at home as she is on the air?
Now wait a minute. Define.
Well,
crazy.
like outgoing and
oh sure.
And,
oh my gosh, yes. Absolutely.
And then also the other type of crazy.
Like he walked through the door and he doesn't have an office anymore because I tore it up. Like that crazy.
Honey, I never had an office anyway. She's talking about no.
So what you're doing, I wanted to talk to you about this caller, but I'll tell you about it later. It was so fascinating.
You had a caller on your show on KMBC. Did he make you mad or what happened?
No. He was inside the Costco when the gunman came in.
Oh, in Lenexa. Oh my goodness. Oh jeez.
Yes.
Now we saw that. For people who don't know, police released the video from inside the Costco store when that man opened fire inside that store, and thank God for an off-duty Kansas City, Kansas police captain who was probably shopping like everybody else, probably getting toilet paper, which is what you get at Costco, right? And he was there, and thankfully. And you can see, and it's on our Facebook pages. It's at KMBC.com. We'll have more of it tonight. But you can see this police captain, a veteran law enforcement officer, and watching him move in this video to take this guy down. I mean, all I could think about was the years of training and experience, and man, did that come into play. I mean, this captain knew he knew exactly what to do, when to do it, how to do it. And did everything by the book, and thankfully a tragedy was averted. Lives were saved in Johnson County. Yeah.
Yes, but I'm going to give you a bet. I want everyone listening to go watch the surveillance video that you just talked about on KMBC.com.
On our Facebook pages. Yeah.
Yep. Watch it.
And what the shoppers do. It is the most fascinating case study in human behavior. As the gunman comes in, so picture this: gunman is in. He is waving a gun. No one puts down their shopping carts. Kris, they all ran with their empty shopping carts. Put down your carts, people.
At least he didn't stop for samples, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know, but
that is interesting though. Yes.
We had to pull in, and he also kept his cart. And he goes, Dana, I don't know why. I just was pushing it, and then I looked down and I'm like, why am I pushing this cart?
Yeah, that's a dedicated shopper.
Yeah, I don't.
Right there.
I got nothing for you on that one, honey.
Well, Dana, we'd love to have you on Landmark Live for your own show sometime. When we're done with Kris.
Here's the problem. My wife, a longtime Leewoodian. Let's, in the spirit of full disclosure, honey, I'm just going to be brutally honest. I've told you this before, and now I'm telling everybody in north of the river. My wife gets north of 119th, and she starts getting the shakes. She needs GPS, and yeah.
That is scary. We've got to.
Isn't that true? Isn't that true?
We will send a driver for you to get up to Platte City.
We know an Uber driver.
What's that?
You drive me up there, and I'll go.
All right,
you're in.
Fantastic.
All right, I'll let you go.
Thanks, Dana.
I love you. Bye. Okay.
Well, there you go, Kris. Tell you what.
That's pretty typical.
This is off the rails.
Didn't take long.
This is awesome.
Did not take long for Landmark Live to get off the rails.
Pretty typical conversation there between.
And pretty typical for our show to get off the rails, quite honestly.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's okay.
Chris, speaking of years in the news biz,
It'll be 35 years at KMBC on the 4th of July, and it doesn't seem like. And here's the the thing of it is, I've been at KMBC almost 35 years. I've been in daily journalism for 41, and it's still a hell of a lot of fun to work.
yeah,
And not a lot of guys can say that, and nobody's luckier than me. Nobody's luckier than me.
How has it changed other than it's ridiculous? This is a ridiculous set. This is like Star Wars.
This set, we just redid all the lights, so it's a much brighter, it's a better picture at home. You can walk around, can't you? Here, follow me. Yeah, let's just walk around. Digital technology, it's changed everything. I mean, it's changed everything in our daily lives, right? But especially in this business. Now, here, follow me. back in the day when we were in the old building downtown, the Lyric Theater, you know, your basic studio camera was about, gosh, the guts of it.
It was huge.
They were huge, and they were heavy, and they had tubes in them, and it was, they were big. Okay, come here. This is kind of what your state-of-the-art, high-definition, all-digital studio camera. I'm not talking about the stuff out in the field. I'm talking about
you would see a movie maker carrying around.
And they've gotten smaller.
Yeah.
But they've not only gotten smaller, but they've gotten better. I mean, if there's a way to make these the video that these things generate, to make them clearer, crisper, better, they keep finding ways to do that. And
is this 4K or whatever that is?
No, we haven't. No, we're not 4K. Nobody's 4K. 4K is something that people are talking about, but it's not really in practice. You know, in local television, we haven't gone there yet. I don't know if that's the next big thing or not. I don't know. But
this is where you do your news. You know,
yeah,
sit down.
We use this entire floor during a newscast. You know, alert desk is there. The touch screen is here.
They do a lot of this stuff in the morning, right?
They do.
When did you move to nights?
It was about, has it been 3 years? Almost 3 years.
Because your sleep cycle.
Almost 3 years ago.
No, it hasn't, because you're up 4 in the morning tweeting.
I anchored First News for 8 years and loved every single minute of it. Sitting with Donna, you're sitting with Donna Pittman. There's no heavy lifting there, trust me. But 8 years on First News and loved it. And I always said, it's a great schedule if you can hack getting up in the middle of the night, because my alarm would go off at 12:40 in the morning. Okay, and I would be here usually right around 2, because we were going on at 4:30. And I'm one of those. I like to either write or rewrite everything that I do. We have wonderful producers behind the scenes, people who literally put together the projects. They're wonderful, but that's just the way I work. Do we have the? Oh, we have the. Oh, okay.
They put Platte City
okay.
for us. Yeah.
This is the chroma key wall that Brian Busby and Neville Miller and Nick Bender and Jennifer McDermott. This is what they stand in front of when KMBC 9 News is on, when it comes to the weather. Now, what you have to do is you have to look at this monitor right there.
Hello?
See those guys right there?
Hello?
Yeah, get in tight. Go ahead and get in tight on that monitor there.
Hello?
See?
Is there anybody?
Yeah, we left
downtown.
We left the chroma key wall up for you guys.
It's nice.
So now the only thing is you cannot wear a tie, for instance. In our case, it wouldn't be a shirt.
Green, right?
It can't be. Well, you can't see it. It can't be green. Okay. Yeah. Here we go. Whoops. Bingo. That's all right.
We're here to break stuff.
It's okay. See what happens. See what happens when
look at that over
the
there.
same color as our chroma key
right
wall.
Yeah.
That's what happens. It keys out, as we say.
I'm going to show everybody at home.
Like
I'm going to point right to where the Landmark office is, you guys. Let's see.
Show 'em.
Yeah, give it a shot.
There's Main Street.
What's the weather like there right now?
3rd and Main. Right there is your Platte County Landmark office, guys. 3rd and Main. How about that? We found the Landmark tonight down here at Channel 9.
The weather's frightful, I think.
Very frightful. Tell you what, while we have a second, break in the action, I need to tell you about our new sponsor. And her name is Susan Stewart. She used to own the Main Street Pet Resort. She's now a realtor. Realtor Susan Stewart of Platte County is our sponsor this week. For 10 years, Susan provided a cozy home away from home for your 4-legged family members at Main Street Pet Resort. Now she has joined Keller Williams Realty and will work her tail off to help you and your entire family find a great new home. Ready to move? Call Susan at 816-541-2830. Here we are, and I think we have a veteran newsman ready to...
We got Mahoney here, as promised. Michael Mahoney, ladies and gentlemen, President of City Hall.
Pleasure to meet you. Absolutely. Good to see you, man.
Hi, Michael.
Hey.
Ivan Foley.
I know who you are, man.
Thank you, yeah.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
All right, KCI. What's going on?
Nobody seems to know, except it's all screwed up. Today, the city council voted not to agree to a preliminary deal with Edgemoor, the town that's the people that are going to develop KCI. And they have some council members that have difficulties with this deal. This is not the final contract. This is the basic framework deal about what they're going to do. And the council members' problems are two: minority and women hiring. They don't think it's they don't think it's specific enough. And number two, they don't think these community benefit agreements, which are basically contributions that Edgemoor would make to social programs in and around Kansas City, are enough. And so they voted today not to accept that MOU. Now, what that means is uncertain. Edgemoor continues to negotiate with the city, and then there was another measure that was introduced today to end negotiations with Edgemoor, and that was put into a committee to be named later. Sly James, the mayor, will probably make that decision tomorrow. He'll probably put it in a committee where he thinks he has enough votes to kill this deal to end the negotiations. But what it means is a very convoluted process that has just been going on and on and on has hit another roadblock. And so people are going to wonder, can these guys run a two-car parade?
Is it still possible for Edgemoor to build this airport?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
But because of all the machinations from this summer, they were behind on their original timetable. Now they're going to be behind a little bit more. The goal is to have this thing open by sometime in November 2021. That was still the goal as of this afternoon, according to Edgemoor. We'll see where it goes from here. It's at least a week delay, and then it's the optics of more question marks about KCI.
And number two on the list of developers, AECom out of Los Angeles. Are they next in line, assuming for a moment that Edgemoor is, in fact, at some point out?
Yeah, AECom would be second. The other two, Burns Mac and the other firm whose name escapes me right off the top, they were not ever qualified to be considered as a bid. And the way the process is, the letter of the law and the contracts are, if something happens to the number one winner, it's like the Miss America contest, the runner-up takes over. So in this case, it would be AECom. So,
you guys got questions?
I tell you what, what will we be looking for next, Michael, out of this process? What's
The
happening?
mayor.
the mayor tomorrow, the mayor says that he'll decide what committee he'll put it in. The logical choice is the airport committee,
which is chaired by Jolie Justice.
And Jolie and most of the members on the airport committee voted for Edgemoor, and I think Mayor James is hoping that if he puts it into the airport committee, it'll just die.
Does Edgemoor have a chance to sweeten?
That would happen next week at the committee hearing.
Does Edgemoor have a chance to sweeten their offer?
Well, that was the whole point of today, Chris, was that they were going to say, all right, folks, what questions do you have about the Edgemoor deal? And they brought up questions. They brought up the questions that we just talked about, the minority and women hiring, the social program questions. There was also questions about a pot of money, $30 million, if the deal would break up between now and September when they're supposed to close on it. And close means just like closing on a house. So those were the big questions, but the ones that really sort of screwed the pooch today were the community benefit agreement and then the NWBE hiring. So.
Okay, great. Thanks for the update, Michael. We appreciate it. Tell you what, you tune in to Landmark Live, you get breaking news.
You really do tonight. You really do tonight.
It's awesome.
Okay.
Fantastic.
And you're now outnumbered 3-1.
Pretty much.
With
Northlanders.
With Northlanders.
I only lived there almost 30 years, but now
don't count, man. Now
I know.
Lost you.
Michael's a Northlander? I did not know that.
Oh yeah. Oh God, yes. He's been.
You lost your accent already. I mean,
I know.
It's bad.
You know, and Laura Moritz, who of course is a Platte Countyan. I hear that constantly.
Right.
So
You should.
Well, you used to be a Northlander.
I was, but and now every time I across the river, I have to have my papers in order.
Yeah.
Listen, you
Right, you do.
you do have some Northland cred, though. You survived a tornado.
Did.
And you've seen the longest high school football game in
Yes.
Kansas City history, I would think.
Well, tell us a
Right?
little bit about that. I mean, your son was part of a state championship with Staley, right?
Jason, my son Jason Ketz was a part of the 2011 Missouri Class 5 undefeated state champions, your Staley Falcons, and Staley, of course, again undefeated this year, state championship. Phil Light coached this team. Fred Bouchard coached the last one. So hashtag Staley Strong. We did it again.
You know what I'm most proud of tonight, Kris Kamler? We've had the terms cold as balls and screwed the pooch and Landmark Live, and we're just getting started. The night is still young.
Absolutely.
I mean,
fantastic. Thank you.
I'll see you guys.
Michael, thanks for coming in.
It's a pleasure, man.
Nice to meet you.
It's a pleasure. You do good work.
I appreciate it. You came up to Platte City one time. Remember in the 90s we did like a Hancock 2 kind of a thing.
I'd
kind
come
of a
up
deal.
to Platte County.
Yeah,
Board
and it was fantastic.
Hey, before you leave, we want to show this picture here. This is. Do you remember this set? Not the fat kid sitting at the desk.
Yeah.
That's the old set from
Downtown.
the downtown. Yeah,
That would have been the mid '80s, early '80s.
we were there.
So.
We were there. We were
Yeah.
both there in the mid '80s.
Cindy, can you get in on this? Can you zoom in on that? Now look at that. That's Kris Kamler in what, 8th grade? You said?
6th, 7th, somewhere
Okay.
in there. I shadowed somebody.
And the very best part about that set was it was a block away from the Quaff Bar.
Yes, absolutely. And the very best part about this picture is my calculator watch, which you can't really see, but that's pretty fantastic.
What I want to know is, do you still have the chili bowl that they used to cut your hair with?
My mom does.
Okay.
Absolutely.
See you guys. Thank you,
Take
sir.
care.
Well, let's go back to this.
Now,
Here, come on.
you know, you were talking about bars. Somebody mentioned a bar there for a minute.
You know, the Quaff for many years was a hangout. Of everybody's.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, go right ahead. The Benino family, love them. 1010 Broadway, if you've never been to the Quaff, ask for Animal.
not sure I've
Tell
ever-
them we sent you.
I'm not sure I've ever been in the Quaff before 10 p.m.
Wonderful place. Wonderful place.
But I have been in the Quaff many times after 10 p.m.
Wonderful. And they have terrific food, and they have great burgers and the whole menu, and putting in a plug for Joe and New. And Anthony.
Now, you are a celebrity around town, Kris, so when you want to go out and you don't want to be recognized or hassled, where do you go? Where's the secret location where Kris Ketz likes to go and not get hassled?
Well, pretty much now, I'm not Kris Ketz, I'm Mr. Dana Wright. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. 2 to 6 afternoons on 98.1 FM KMBC.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But where do we hang out? We hang out a lot at home, quite frankly. With her 4 kids, with my 12-year-old, I have 2 older sons who are graduated, and my oldest son is a University of Missouri graduate and in the School of Journalism, and he actually my oldest son anchors mornings at the ABC station up in the Quad Cities, which is where I grew up. I worked there for about a year and a half while I was still in school.
Third generation of.
My father was an anchor there for 35 years. In fact, my son, this is his first job out of school. He's about 5.5 years on the zoo. And Jonathan walks into a building where the street in front of the station and the studio are named after his grandfather. There's no pressure there whatsoever. And Jason is he's a production assistant at 610 Sports. I think he'd love to get into sports radio somehow, and he's only been he's a graduate of the University of Central Missouri in Warrensburg. Loved it, I think he at least right now he's talking hopefully a career in broadcasting. But we were just lucky. I was talking about this the other day. As parents, we were extraordinarily lucky that we have 2 sons. Jonathan only visited one place, Mizzou. Jason only visited one place, Central Missouri. And they both fell in love with the schools, and they both got their degrees, and it doesn't get any better.
Does Jonathan often credit the one summer he umpired for me as
He talks
really
about
the stepping
to
stone?
this day he talks
the
about
stepping stone. I knew it was
this day it was a major career moment
I knew it was
for him.
a formative moment in his life.
And it has set him up for success later in life. Absolutely. Yeah.
Credit to you, Kris Kamler.
It was about 2 years later after you left. I was that's that guy's kid? Okay. That's great.
Takes a village, right? Takes a village.
Since you guys are here, and we've kind of taken the curtain back a little bit.
We're peeling the onion tonight, Kris Ketz.
You can come around here. Come around the back. We have in this anchor desk we have computers. We have computer screens. And if you're wondering what I'm looking at, if you can see that, I hope the glare is not too bad.
Deadspin, is that what I'm
No. No, I'll show you what I have. I'll show you what I have queued up here. I have
TweetDeck.
I have email.
Yeah.
I have Twitter. Imagine that.
Yeah.
And I have Facebook. Okay.
Nice.
So I'm looking at those three while anchoring a newscast, and I also have this. This is basically our run. This is the rundown from our 6 o'clock broadcast tonight. And so you click on that, and you see the script there, and that script automatically appears up on the teleprompter when we're on. So there's a lot of, as Laura will tell you as well, there's a lot of editing on the fly as we're in the middle of a broadcast. So. But anyway, if you're wondering what we're looking at from time to time, that's what we're looking at.
And you mentioned that you like to do your own writing. That's kind of unusual, isn't it, for a guy in your position?
I don't know. It's just the way I work. I don't know about anybody else. I hope it works for me. And at the end of the day, viewers get to make that call.
Yeah. There's a difference between writing for TV news and writing for a newspaper. Obviously, all the tricks, but I've had some young former TV people come in and apply for a job with a newspaper, and they'll show me.
And they're lost.
And they're writing
they have no
samples.
clue. Right.
Yeah, it's just totally different.
Their writing's horrible.
It's shallow. I'm not going to say it's horrible. It's just shallow.
Right.
And that's because they're trained to write, for a different.
Well, and also they're probably not, and this is one of the things that I think sets us apart from the other guys in town. Let's face it. No other station in town can put a guy like Michael Mahoney on a story this big, such as these breaking developments at Casey Island. Nobody. The encyclopedia of knowledge in his head, just on this story, on any story.
He was at the Skywalk collapse.
He was
at the
inside
Kemper roof collapse.
Right.
He was.
There's
seen it all.
And the thing of it is, and Michael's not alone. Peggy Bright brings 30 plus years of experience to the street. Martin Augustine's been here a long time. I remember Laura Moritz when she was an intern with us.
Really?
Yeah, and this was 20 plus years ago, but more years than probably she wishes that she would care to admit.
Is there one thing underneath this desk that would surprise people? Is this the Laura Moritz Memorial fan?
I don't know who's. Honestly, I don't know whose fan that is. Quite frankly, I don't know who.
Because that's what I've always wanted. Come here for a second. There's like a straw. There's just the router, makeup kit,
pretty
simple
stuff. Pretty simple stuff.
And it looks like that's how
Cindy's desk.
Cindy's desk looks like that.
It looks like Cindy's desk.
I'll be quite honest with you. That is exactly Cindy's desk.
Let me ask you a question about social media, because it's one of the big. I've noticed for many, many years before it became in vogue for media people to be on social media that you were on social media probably, if not first, but close to first. By years. And how, what started that, and then how have you seen that kind of evolve over the last 5 years or so with social media? Obviously you can't work in television now without writing and producing and Facebook living and all this stuff.
One of the things that that when you ask that question, when it comes to social media, and we're I don't know, 5-6 years into this thing, we're all still trying to figure it out. Yeah, we really are.
But you were ahead of the game. Let's be honest.
Twitter is. It's funny about Twitter because of the people that I follow and the news organizations that I follow. And these are all organizations that I trust. Okay, based on their body of work, based on their the experience that they bring to a particular story. Information, and y'all have heard this before, but information moves so much faster now than it ever did before, and Twitter is one of the drivers behind that. And we're looking. Laura and I are looking at Twitter constantly because if something happens, whether it's in Kansas City or north of the river or in another part of the world, we're going to find out about it more times than not as it's happening on social media. We never had that kind of ability before, and it's something that's available not just to people who are professionals in the business. It's available to anybody. Right. And that's one of the things that I think is that continues to be of great fascination here. That kind of information, that kind of immediacy is available to anybody. And Facebook is another one of those things where Facebook is more of a way to stay in touch with our viewers. Laura and I are on Facebook a lot, and as I say, I think it's when people they'll ask us questions or they'll comment about stuff that we post, and it's a good way And it's a lot of other things too, but I think first and foremost, it's a really good way to stay in touch with our viewers, you at home, because after all, you guys, you're our customers, okay? In so many ways, and it's because of you that we get to do what we do every night.
Have you seen any of the national narrative about media trickle down to the local media? I would call it maybe negativity about fake news. And
I think people have. I think they have a great mistrust of national media, whatever you want to call it. But I do think that there is a far, far, far greater level of confidence in their local people because
and what do you think that is?
Because we're here.
Yeah. Okay.
We live here. We're shopping at the grocery store like everybody else. We're going to restaurants. This is home. We live here.
At the city level and the neighborhood level, I mean, you guys are where it's at.
Yeah, and the national networks. I mean, Fox News obviously leans a little bit to the right. CNN would lean a little bit to the left. How do these local stations like yours kind of stay in the middle of that? And you don't hear.
What? It's a lot easier than you think. It really is. Now, certainly, we're not. We're aware of what's happening across the country and across the world, and people's viewpoints of media. But we work just as hard, if not harder now than we ever have, at making sure that the stories that we are telling, that we get those right. At the end of the day, again, I mean, viewers, they have so many choices when it comes to video and television and online and social media, whatever. It is a we get ratings the next day in Kansas City, and in many respects that's a report card for us. That tells viewers are making choices every day, and the fact that so many people have and continue to come to KMBC 9 News for their information, and I tell this to people all the time. It means more to us than you'll ever know. It really does.
Now, on the social media, do you find that your Facebook audience is different than your Twitter audience?
I don't know. I really don't know. I've kind of lost track of Twitter followers. I don't look at that nearly as much as I probably did a couple of years ago. Some of that is probably the result of.
Once he got more than me, I mean.
Then the ball game was over. Yeah, it was. But
there was a time where I had more than he did, and it was embarrassing.
Did you screenshot that and save it?
I should have done that. Yeah, I should have done that.
I'm at 26,154 followers.
Amazing.
So, and it's probably, I think I'm 17 or maybe 18,000 on Facebook. But it is. It's a very personal medium.
Yeah.
And I think it's cool. There are certainly dangers. And I came up with my own rule very early on in social media, and it's a real simple one. And I think it keeps me out of trouble. I'm not going to post or say anything on social media that I wouldn't say right here on the air. And using the same kind of journalistic standards and common sense.
Right.
And as I say, I think that one lesson has served me well. I hope.
Has Brian Busby ever said "cold as balls" on the air?
I don't think so. No, that's probably, you guys can get away with that. I don't think we're.
Kris?
I don't think we would go there.
What is one? What's one blooper that you recall? Doesn't even have to be yours. We can bag on Laura Moritz if we want.
No,
I mean,
she doesn't. She doesn't have any bloopers. Me? I remember one night. This goes back to the late 80s, real late 80s. I was on a live shot at 10 o'clock in Lawrence in front of the student union at KU. And they had a visit by the vice president of Nicaragua, okay? And I don't even remember what he was talking about back then, but somehow, some way, and it's 10 o'clock, so it's dark, and you've got these bright lights pointed at you, so you really can't see beyond the camera that's 6 feet in front of you. You really can't. I mean, they're pitch black, bright lights. and a co-ed on campus came up and kissed me on live TV.
Nice job.
And I kind of had to push her away as gently as I could. But it's on, I just got kissed by a woman I don't know on live TV. And years later, I was at somewhere eating dinner, and I actually met her.
Really?
She actually walked up and said, "Hey, do you remember that night at KU where I kissed you?" I said, "Yeah, was that you?" And she says, "Yes." And I said, "Okay, you got to tell me, was it a bet?" And I think she won $20. So which back then was it's worth more than $20 is now. So anyway.
We probably got 700 questions, but I mean you've got news.
We're coming up on 7:40, and I do
right,
have to get going because we're on at 9 on KCWN at 10 on KMBC, and
can we borrow your set for like 2 minutes? After
sure.
you go?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, we appreciate you so much.
Pleasure.
Kris Ketz.
Pleasure.
Nice of you to let
Pleasure's
us.
ours.
Hey, before we go out, I would be remiss. My Aunt Mary is your largest fan.
Where does Aunt Mary live?
Aunt Mary lives in town,
Okay.
Kansas City.
Okay.
And she would love.
Is she a North Hunter?
She was. I don't know where the hell she lives now. She used to live in Briarcliff. So
Like I say,
last name.
I lived in the Northland almost 30 years. Loved every minute of it. And and I now live with my wife Dana right in Leawood. And there are certain things every once in a while that my wife will say or do. And there are those moments when I say to my wife, "Honey, this is why the rest of the metropolitan area is sleeping." And I'm not sure I'm still not sure she gets that. But
absolutely.
anyway, it's all good fun. We're all one big metropolitan area. We're all one big happy family.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for
My pleasure.
Very kind.
having
of you.
us out here.
Appreciate
You bet.
your good
Thanks a
man.
lot.
And you guys still need the desk for a couple of
About 1
sure.
minute.
All right, go get 'em.
I'm going to read a commercial here.
I'll
All
let
right,
you
go
do it.
right ahead. You
Do
can do it right there.
From our new sponsor.
They're all lit up and everything.
Listen, guys, Realtor Susan Stewart of Platte County is our sponsor this week. For 10 years, Susan provided a cozy home away from home for your four-legged family members at the Main Street Pet Resort. Now she has joined Keller Williams Realty and will work her tail off to help your entire family, including your dog, find a great new home. Ready to move? Call Susan at 816-541-2830. Chris, you know Susan well, right? We talked about this
Susan's great.
earlier. Yes.
Susan's the best.
She took good care of your dog.
She sure did.
All right. What else do we need to talk about tonight?
They're gonna have security figure out that we're in the building.
They finally found
out.
out we were here, didn't they?
This has been awesome. This has been very, very cool.
Yeah, well, I tell you what, we appreciate Channel 9. We appreciate Kris Ketz inviting us down for this kind of a look behind the scenes at everything that goes on at Channel 9.
And hey, there's going to be breaking news tonight at 9. So
Yeah.
listen up if you're in Platte City or Platte County and want to hear about the airport. So this is a big deal.
Good stuff, guys. Between now and then, continue to read the Platte County Landmark online. Continue to follow us on Facebook. Follow Chris Kamler on Twitter as @TheFakeNed. He'll have all kinds of breaking news for you on Twitter, right?
I'm going to Vegas this weekend, so maybe that's not a good
If
idea.
you're not following the fake net on Twitter, then just don't even bother. Don't even bother. Just
Fine.
don't even
Fine.
bother.
I will pay you $5.
It's
all right?
not
God,
even. It's
bless.
just don't even bother. Just give it up.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you,
Appreciate
everybody.
it.
We will see you next week on Landmark Live. Next Thursday night, Chris Kamler and I put our yoga pants on.
Wait, what?
Yeah, we got a yoga show next Thursday. We'll be doing yoga at a place called the Wellness Wheel. And, that's going to be a scary, scary
Not in my
episode.
contract. Not okay.
Next Thursday night, Chris Kamler in yoga pants, 6 o'clock. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.